What's up, everybody? Hey, Zebras, thanks for tuning into the program. Check it out. When I do this podcast, the main thing, the main source of my focus is on this whole concept of creating superheroes within myself and within other people. If you want to get a good idea of what that is all about, you can go to episode 400. But to give you a brief overview, because I want to frame what I'm going to talk about today in that creating superheroes model, there's a part of me, there's a part of my model with these 80,000 thoughts we have on average every single day. There's a lot of stuff for me that repeats on repeat. One of the things that doesn't seem to repeat on repeat is this overwhelming sense of love for everybody and for the universe. You may feel the same way that I do. It's like one thing that I really have a difficult time tapping into is how to love other people without judgment. I'm an unconditional kind of love, right? And this might be something that only, maybe you think Jesus may have mastered. And I believe there's other people out there who have done it, who have gotten themselves to that point. Of course, you're going to slip every once in a while, but you will impact other people's lives just by what you're giving off. You want to say your vibe, your aura, your presence, whatever that thing is. You can impact people with that. So part of creating superheroes for me is to open up that part of me. And that's what this episode's going to be about. So when I bring this up, one of the reasons I bring it up is because a big piece of this is supporting what other people do. Looking at somebody who's maybe in your lane or not in your lane, just more successful than you in some field, and looking at them and thinking, man, I really admire them for what they're doing. I want to follow that person. I want to make sure that they understand that I appreciate what they do and it's going to inspire me. That's what I want to have happen. But sometimes it's that feeling of I'm competing against somebody else. Sometimes it's that feeling of I'm trying to get this person to lose so I win. And that might only happen for brief moments in my head, but it still happens. And the same for you. I'm not saying you walk around all day hoping for people's demise in their life or their career or whatever that thing is. But there's a piece of you that whenever you see somebody else winning, you automatically feel like you're losing a little bit, okay? And that's not the truth at all. That's not the case in any way, shape, or form. So when I talk about what we're talking about here, if you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy what you're listening to, if you enjoy what I have to say, any of the guests that are ever on here, please subscribe. Number one, whatever platform you're on, please subscribe. If you're on iTunes or any other platform where you can leave a review, please do that. And if something in this episode inspires you, sparks some creativity, whatever it is, snap a screenshot of whatever episode it is, the time, just screenshot your phone or wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening to this on a desktop, like, wow, people listen to podcasts on desktop, but hey, I don't know what kind of life you're living. But listen, snap a screenshot, send it to me on any platform. Just DM me and tell me a little bit about why you screenshotted that and how it made you feel, or share it with a friend. Be like, you got to check this episode out. And that's what I'm just talking about with like reciprocity, going around and maybe spreading love on something that is something that you've found that has benefited you. You know you could show it to somebody else. You could let somebody else hear it. They could get the information, and it would benefit them as well. Because that's all this podcast is me getting hyped up and fired up from other people doing awesome things. And then I create this thing out of it. That's what we create everything out of. If you want to act like you're the sole creator, yes, that's the problem, man. You're not. We're all in this thing together. So when you find something you dig, make sure that you show it love, make sure you support it, and make sure that you also tell other people about it. Just like this conference we have coming up, the first ever leadership conference in Central Pennsylvania. So if you're from Central Pennsylvania, please, I would love for you to get involved, okay? If you're not from around here, I get it, and I can still get the information to you. But listen, if you want to be a part of LIT, Leadership, Impact, and Technology, the first ever leadership conference in Central Pennsylvania, coming up in February, check out our website, getlitcon.com, okay? getlitcon.com. Now we're going to get into the business at hand.
This is Rob Z Radio.
Yep. So today, let's cover something that is really important to me. And I think as I get into this, you'll understand how it could be important to you as well. There's this great meditation guru, a spiritual guru, guide. I don't think he would call himself a guru. Maybe a guide would be the right word. But his name is Ram Dass. He passed away a few years ago. But really for decades and decades, I mean, since going back to, the 70s, maybe into the 80s, early 80s, he was doing talks around the world on meditation, on enlightenment, on spirituality, and all that stuff might sound like a bunch of fuzzy crap inside of your head. It might not mean anything to you, but just hear me out for what I have to say on this episode. I like Ram Dass a lot. I really enjoy his take and his view on our minds and our experience here on Earth. So I'm going to leave his information to him. You can go listen to him on your own and find out what he's all about. It's RAM. Is it DAAS? I think I always get confused if it's DASS or DAAS. And I feel like if you're going to support somebody on a podcast, you should probably shout them out correctly. So I'm actually typing this as I'm talking, and I'm delaying because I'm typing. RAMDASS. Yes, Ram Dass. And I was listening to this talk that he did, okay, and this is where my whole basis of what I'm going to speak to you today is. This is all based out of this one little thing that he said in this talk. And he was talking about love and falling in love with somebody, okay, because most of us at least, have had that experience. At least you've had the experience of like overwhelming infatuation or attachment to somebody, even if it's your own mom or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Or for some people, it's an inanimate object. That's really hard for me to say, but for some people, that's the case. But he said, you know that feeling that you get when you, and I'm going to use air quotes, fall in love with somebody, right? When they give you that feeling of love, you know what that rush, that joy, the exuberance, like you could stay up for 4 days on that, not even on crystal meth. You could be up for 4 days straight on some love because it gives you that just incredible feeling inside of you. Okay, so Ram Dass talks about that, and he said, he was talking about addictions and attachment, and that's something that on this podcast I really am going to get into because I have my own lifelong story to tell on that, but I'm still building towards telling that story. But maybe in this brief glimpse I give you here, he's doing this talk on attachment and on addiction. And basically he says, like, drugs aren't the addiction. People aren't the addiction. Food isn't the addiction. Your job isn't the addiction. We're all chasing that feeling that it gives us whenever it gives us that wonderful feeling. Of course, there's going to be some heartbreak involved. Of course, there's going to be some trying times involved. But when you met that special somebody, or you had that special thing happen to you, whatever it is, or you took that drug for the first time, whatever it was, and you had that euphoria, you had that crazy, overwhelming feeling, and it was like, I never want this to end. I can recall that vividly for me, 8th grade. This is crazy. This girl, Nikki Arrett, and I don't even know where she is now. I have no idea. We probably dated for like 2 weeks, and then she broke up with me and started to date my best friend. And for some reason, I didn't really care all that much, although I did like her, but I wasn't heartbroken by the fact that she did that to me. But whatever, that's beside the point. We had gone to the local mall together, the Logan Valley Mall, and we hung out, and I think she either let me borrow her sweatshirt or she sprayed like her perfume on my sweatshirt, right? And I can recall I was like 14, maybe 15, and I was walking across my dad's house to our neighbors, and I was walking back across, and I caught a whiff of, because we had just hung out that night, and now I was just hanging out later on, reminiscing, and I got this whiff of her, and I was like, oh man. And I got this flood of like feelings inside of me, like, whoa, like overwhelming emotion. I can recall that happening. I'm not saying that I was in love with her, right? But I'm saying that feeling, that's that feeling of infatuation, like that feeling of intense love. And I'm not saying that I was in love with her, but you know what I mean when you get that. It's like a temporary, not long-lasting kind of thing, but it hits you like a burst. So when Ram Dass talks about our attachment, we've attached ourselves to people, to drugs, to situations, to attitudes, to substances, right? We've attached ourselves to things because they gave us that feeling, and we wanted to hang on to that feeling. Yeah, they always talk about this with drug addiction when you go to, if you're using like heroin or coke, or you're shooting something up, right? You're always chasing that high. You're always chasing the dragon of the first time when it happened and you had this overwhelming rush, because we're all trying to get back to that spot, really. Me with my business, you with whatever it is that you do, you're chasing that feeling for the rest of your life. You might get it once or twice, you keep chasing it. You know it's there somewhere, but we think we can only grab it in tiny portions. So Ram Dass talks about how, like, when you have that overwhelming feeling, when you fall in love with somebody, that is something that is always there. That feeling is always there. It exists. It existed before you were born. It will exist long after. It's a general emotional state that you are able to get to and live in. But, the stuff in our outer world and the stuff in our inner world, which, if you're like me, my case, I think the stuff in my inner world has that all screwed up. And it's probably a little bit of both for everybody. But you can be there. You can live in that spot. That can be your home. But it's a practice. And it's also a mindset of our culture, and maybe of the worldwide culture too, I don't know, but it's definitely a mindset of my area, maybe of your area, that's a place that you get to feel every once in a while in brief glimpses. You get to feel that every once in a while in a couple of lucky moments, but that's not something you can hold on to and have it be a part of you. And what Ram Dass says, and what many meditation gurus say, what Jesus Christ said, is that you can live in that place. It is possible. It's a lot of work, and a lot of us don't have the discipline or the understanding of how to get ourselves there. But the reason I wanted to talk about this was I found it fascinating, really eye-opening, and very enlightening that Ram Dass said that feeling, right, that I'm in love kind of feeling, that's what we're always chasing. So whenever we have heartbreak, whenever that person leaves us, or whenever that drug is something we can't get a hold of anymore, or whenever we're trying to go on a diet and we can't have that certain food we want, or if you're supposed to go home and hang out with your family but you just want to work all night, like, 'cause you're chasing that feeling, that's what we're doing. We're trying to get back to that place of oneness where we feel okay, where you feel like you're cool, you feel like you're whole, and you feel like the universe, I'm going to throw a little freestyle out here, but like the universe has created something so that you can connect to it and feel like that infinite kind of feeling. Unfortunately, it's really hard to keep a hold of, and we usually think of it as something that's just passing the wind, something that just kind of it comes and goes, and we can't hang on to it. And the more you try to hang on to it, the more it disappears. But one of my creating superheroes concepts for me, and ever since hearing that from Ram Dass, which I just heard him speak on this, a couple months ago, for a couple of months I've been thinking about that. But one of my things is, like, how can I live more of my day in a general place of just loving what's going on? How long can I do that? Now, when I get into meditation, if I do 45 minutes to an hour and a half of meditation, I can get there and I can hang out there, and it's pretty cool. And really, it's just in like a place of relaxation. Usually, is where I'm hanging out. That's what my mantra is kind of just relax and relax. And if you listen to the next episode, that's what I'm going to touch on. Is really all about what a mantra is and why is that important? You've probably heard that before in your life, but why is it important? Why is a mantra necessary for keeping you on point? And whenever I can get in that spot during meditation, or maybe throughout my day, I catch little glimpses. I remind myself, hey, relax, chill out. All the stuff that you're worrying about, as long as you're getting tasks done each day, you're going to get there, and all the pieces are going to fall into place. You just got to just put your faith in it and have some grace and just keep persevering. That's the key. But you get caught up at certain points in time. We all do it. I know I get caught up. I know you probably get caught up too. But the idea is, how can you find more of your day to focus on that thing that makes you feel that way? What could you do to carve out your day so you feel a little glimpse of that? Man, that felt really good. Whatever that is for you, whenever it hit you and you felt it, okay? Here's a little piece I'm going to give for you right now as we wrap this thing up. I want you to, if you've never tried meditation before, it's perfectly fine. You don't need to have tried meditation. Just go with what I'm saying and see if it works and see if you feel anything, all right? And there might be some noises in the background. It's all good, though. We're going to close your eyes. If you're driving somewhere right now, don't close your eyes. But if you're sitting down, relaxing, if you're driving in the car, doing something productive, good for you. But whenever you're done doing that thing, go back to the spot, take a minute, sit down, and chill for a second, and just close your eyes, okay? And I'm gonna ask you to do something super simple. And for me, I can get to the spot just by thinking about my son Max. Okay, so you got to think of something that makes your heart kind of light up, and you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. There's something you can think of that makes it light up just a little bit. For me, it's like hanging out with Max. We usually like lay in bed and tell stories at the end of the night. And that's always the most fun. He has like a bunk bed, and we're up on the top, near the roof, near the ceiling, and it's just fun with a 5-year-old to lay in bed because they're just adorable little kids. Just want to squish them. And so that I think about that. Whatever that is for you, try to find that thing. Now all we're going to do is think about that thing, okay? Whatever it is, and then put your focus right into your heart. So take your focus, wherever it is. It's probably running through a million thoughts in your head, and put it right in the center of your chest, behind your breastbone. The thymus gland is right in there, right where your heart is. Set your attention there. Think about that moment that makes you happy, and we're just going to chill here for a minute, okay? Now, as you're sitting here, okay, as you're sitting in this spot, just think about how it feels. Look at how does it feel? How does it resonate with you? What does that feel like inside of your chest? Does it feel relaxing? Does it feel whole? Think about your heart. Think about focusing on that. Does that make you feel whole? Does it make you feel better? Think about it. Let's give it a couple more seconds. Sit there with it. You don't have to do anything else. Just rest your attention there. Don't even think about the thing that brought you the happiness right now. Just rest your attention right there inside your heart, just inside of it, and appreciate the power of it, right? It's in there pumping blood every single day, every second of your life, and you don't have to do a damn thing about it. Good for you. That's pretty cool. So take a second to sit back there again. So if you got something, okay? If you got something in there, like me, I got a little something. I got a little tingle, a little feeling. That's that glimpse. It's there. It's sitting there. And I'm telling myself this every podcast that I do. I'm telling myself the information as much as I'm telling you, like, to remind my brain. That's that. You can have that all the time. You got to cultivate it. Just like maybe you've cultivated, like this. I have chronic like back pain, right? And it's stress. I've done all these things to relieve it, exercise-wise. It's stress, and the less stressed I am, the more I tell myself to relax, the less that pain in my back hurts, and that's the truth. So that I can cultivate that pain going away, just like I cultivated it coming there. I can cultivate that love inside of my heart. It's always there. It's always sitting there. We just don't pay attention to it enough. So pay more attention to it. Get more focused in on it. Dial into it. And it'll change just the way you act throughout the day. Some days I do this and it works, and I have really different kind of days. And then other days I don't do it, and I can tell I'm a little bit off. I can tell I'm a little bit irritated. I can tell I'm a little bit not being myself, or being judgmental, or being self-conscious, whatever that thing is. When I sit here in it, when you sit there in it, you can start to you see just what exactly it is doing, what exactly it can do for you, okay? And you can just kind of be there. But remember, we could be there all the time. That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy part of this whole thing. When Ram Dass talks about that, like, that is the spot we always try to get back to. It's always there, and it's always waiting for you to tap into it. It's just like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to break back into it, all right? Just like me breaking back into these podcasts. I've been slacking, and that's why we're back doing it again, because this helps me. Hopefully it helped you. If this did help you, if you got something out of this, if you enjoyed it, please screenshot whatever it was. Send me a message on any social platform. You can find me at robzradio.com. That's my website. All the social links are at the top of the page. If you want to know who I am, like why I do what I do, check out that video. It says, "Who is Rob Z?" I think, at robzradio.com, and get your dose of information about who I am and why I am who I am, okay? Also, if you want to be a part of the first ever leadership conference in central Pennsylvania, damn, it'd be so cool to have you there. GetLitCon.com. If you're trying to make more money, if you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to expand your career, I'm telling you, it's going to be an event that is going to change my life. I know that. It's going to change a lot of people's lives in the room as well, and I'm super psyched about that. GetLitCon.com. Subscribe, rate, Tag somebody on this bad boy if you like what's going on. And remember, we all have like 80,000 thoughts a day. Around 80,000. How many of those thoughts are pushing you forward? How many are moving you in the right direction? Hopefully today was one of those episodes where I could help to move you in that direction. Thank you so much for listening. And try to get in that place more. Try to get in that spot more. All right? Peace out.
This is Rob Z Radio.